Table Talk, an open and honest discussion about different topics related to faith.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Table Talk. Thank you for joining us again. Come and take a seat with us at the table. This week I am joined by Noah Teer and by Jackson Clark. I almost messed up your name there. That could have been really awkward. It's like I've not known you that long.
No, that's special.
You don't know me.
Yeah, not at all. All right, so this week we are talking about tattoos and piercings. It's something that's been debated in the church for forever, and it's something that is still talked about today, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether there's degrees to it that can be okay, or whether it's all bad, all good. So I guess to start off, let's talk about Bible times. So back in Bible times, what was the purpose of getting a tattoo, or what was the purpose of putting a piercing in?
Okay, so BibleStudyTools.com, great website. I found it on Google. One of the first things that it said was the background to this law. So Israel, after being rescued from slavery between Egypt and Canaan, their tattoos were limited to mainly women, and they would tattoo based on fertility, things like their breasts, their thighs, and their abdomen, and it was believed to be a good luck charm to protect the birthing process. So it would help. They believed it would help ease the pain of childbirth and things like that. And then there's, it said that it wouldn't specifically be with ink because they don't really have the tools that we have today for tattoos. But they would do things like branding, gashing the skin, so some pretty hurtful things. Hurting things. And then they would also do some of it for like rituals to honor their own gods or to honor the dead or mourn the dead. And then specifically in Leviticus, something that we were sent for this, it says you should not make cuttings in your flesh for the dead nor print marks on you, which Leviticus is the law of the land at that time. So that was the purpose back in the Bible days.
The good old days.
The good old days.
You had that other one, right?
Huh?
I thought you had another one.
Oh, yeah, I did. Then there's also, back in Genesis, it was Genesis 24 and 22, it doesn't address the right or wrong of piercing specifically, but it said it was when Abraham sent his servant to ask for Rebekah's hand for her son Isaac. One of the gifts he sent to Rebekah was a golden nose ring. So there's that too.
You didn't have to point at the nose. We know where a nose ring goes.
The nose ring for your nose.
Nose ring.
Nose ring.
All right, so now that we've covered Bible times, tattoos, and piercings, what would today's times be? What would the purpose now to be getting a tattoo? I think that sounded weird coming out of my face.
Purpose to now
What would the purpose today be for getting?
The purpose today for getting a tattoo now.
Oh my gosh!
For B.
What would the purpose of getting a? Why does that feel weird saying it?
You're right.
What would the purpose of being a tattoo? What would the purpose
B of getting a tattoo today?
Yes,
Okay.
that is what I'm trying to say. My goodness, that was hard. I don't know why. That was irritating. Oh,
Today, I see three pretty big reasons. I see because a lot of people have it, so they just get something random. I've seen to express things that you're passionate about. So like for me, it'd be like a music note or something like that, or like a treble clef, or to honor grandparents, family, or the things that like you hold super close to yourself, Bible verses, crosses, stuff like that.
Like other cultures, like Polynesian cultures and Maori cultures have like they get told like big old like I don't know how they do it, but like with hammers and stuff on the process, and then like
What?
I don't know, and then like pop culture like for like clout as you would.
Clout.
It was like to the face and stuff. It's just excessive.
Oh,
I don't know why you said clout like that, but okay.
As the young ones do.
All right, so we've got honoring a family member. We've got just for the sake of doing it because you can. We've got the cultural aspect of it. What was the third one you said? Which one did I miss?
Expressing things that you're passionate about.
Expressing yourself, expressing the things that you're passionate about. Well, I guess we'll move on then, and I'll just ask these questions. So in 1 Corinthians 10:31, it says, "Whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God." So to touch on your, I'm expressing myself or I'm doing it just because I can. Does getting a tattoo to fulfill that, or just to stand out or to fit in, does that fall short of that command to do it all for the glory of God, or or can you be glorifying God by getting these expressive tattoos or whatever?
Well, if you're doing it just to fit in or stand out, it definitely falls short of trying to do it for the glory of God, because you're not doing it for the glory of God, you're doing it for the glory of the other people. Like if you're trying to stand out, you're looking for reactions in people that are not God, right? Like your classmates, or I don't know, what is it, like your Zoom mates now? but you're doing it for your Google Hangout mates. You're doing it for reactions of people that ultimately won't be there when you go to heaven, right? Like they'll be in heaven, but when you go to heaven, it's like the most intimate relationship you've ever had with God, right? And the whole point is you're going to be in the presence of God for eternity, and ultimately you want to put it out there like this, I'm doing this for the glory of God. Like I want to go spend eternity with Him. So I would say doing it just to fit in or to stand out would definitely not be for the glory of God, for the glory of people, which is bad. Very bad.
Very bad.
Anything to add on that? There you go.
Yeah, he basically covered all the bases there. It depends on like your moral reason behind it and the tattoo itself, like what your purpose for the tattoo is. What's like it falls short if you're just doing it like about yourself, but if you're expressing like your dedication and motivation to be a better Christian, then yeah, I think it hits it.
So you're saying that if I'm just doing it for other people's reactions, then that falls short of that command to do it for the glory of God.
You're chasing the drip.
Yeah, but like
you're not there.
Chasing the clout.
Yeah, but like and that's not like tattoos, like because you had also mentioned expressing yourself with also doing it for clout. So like for me, like you know that I play piano for the worship band, I played trumpet for a little bit, and I played cajon, right? So like if I were to get something music related, it wouldn't be simply just like, oh, I'm just getting music related because I like music. Like I use what I can do to help honor God. So stuff like that is still honoring God because it's something I'm passionate about that I use for the kingdom. But if it were something like I don't know, roses are red, violets are blue, something like super dumb, it doesn't have anything to do with anything like that you use for the glory of God, then I would say it doesn't fit in. Like the one we saw at QT, the beaver with the AK-47 that said guns and glory.
America.
Yeah, I use my AK-47 for the glory of God. I am God's army.
Okay then. All right. Well, to touch on another one of your, a reason to get a tattoo nowadays would to be to honor someone. The Bible says in Ephesians 6, 1-3, "Children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord, for this is the right thing to do. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you, and you will have a long life on the earth." So, if you are trying to honor your father or honor your mother, but they don't agree with it, would getting one anyways be contradictory to that, or is there a loophole? Do you think? What's your thoughts?
I hate this one. It's because it catches me every time. So right now, if I were to do it and my mom was against it, it would definitely not be honoring my father and mother, because I am still in their house. I'm under their control. Like, I'm not an adult. But and I think I said something earlier. It's like if I'm a 30-year-old man and I'm up north, I'm doing what I want to do. Like if I say I'm successfully majored in music, I don't think that that's possible to successfully be a musician. But let's
What's that?
because they make nothing, no moolah. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But let's say I'm up north and like I'm 30 years old. I've got a wife, maybe a kid. I don't know. I've got a house. I don't want kids. Okay, like I'm up north, and my mom still doesn't approve of getting a tattoo, but I'm 30 years old, right? And it's clearly a debate within Christianity, because if it wasn't, we wouldn't be having a table talk about it. But like, if I think tattoos are okay, and I'm not doing it just to be like, see, Mom, this is for you, because you don't. This is take this, you know. I'm gonna get a tattoo anyways. Like if I'm still doing it for expressing glory to God, things like that, I'd say that it's obviously not honoring my mom, but it's not dishonoring her at all, because I'm not under her control anymore. I'm out of the house. But while you're still in the house, while you're still under their rules, I would say you have to still honor them, not get a tattoo, things like that. That's my opinion on that.
And then there's the aspect of like, if honor your mother and father and their wishes, but like, if your parents are in the same mindset as you, as if you're doing it within reason and to honor God, then like if they have the same ideal as you, then you're not dishonoring them by doing it. So I guess within reason you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the main point you're making here is that if you are a minor and you're still under the care of your parents, that getting a tattoo is wrong.
If they say that it is wrong, and I don't know, is there an age limit for tattoos? Like, you've got to be a certain age?
You're like 16 or 18.
I actually don't know. I think at one point it might have been 16.
How
Maybe
old do you have to be to get a tattoo?
I found this on the web.
Legal status of tattooing.
I think in different states it might be a different age.
Most states, it just says most states is 18.
Okay,
There's
so
no 18
So,
on jail
so
tattoos.
assuming that Texas is the same, if you're a minor, getting a tattoo is wrong. If you're 18 and still in your parents' house, like I know I will be, because I'll turn 18 in April of my senior year, so I won't move out for the next couple months. So there's that time span where I'll be legally allowed to, but if my parents are against it, I'm still with them. I'm still under their influence, and it's still their rules. I would say that it would still be a no-no to get a tattoo.
cool. All right, so next question. So 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20 says, "Don't you realize that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, who lives in you and was given to you by God? You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price. So you must honor God with your body." So how much of that modification to yourself, of tattoos and piercings, of our temples, how much of that is appropriate? When is there a line that shouldn't be crossed, like you're only allowed to have 6 tattoos? Is there a point where it's not art, it's not something that could glorify God, but it's just kind of, you've just covered yourself in it, you've essentially mutilated yourself in that way? Is there a line like that is set that we should not cross?
I don't think there's a set line.
No one's come through and be like, you can't do this. There's no one who's like had that.
It's a very vague line. Like, you would just kind of be able to look like at some of the rappers or musicians that are pretty big today. Like, I know a lot of them are just covered in their tattoos. Post Malone, I would be able to look at and be like, that's a little bit excessive.
Got a dagger.
But I don't think that there's a solid, like, ooh, you're getting real close. You're at 5, and we're not supposed to have more than 6. Like, it's a pretty vague idea. Like, I can look at my mom, for example. She has one on her foot that's kind of like a.
Her foot.
Yeah, well, I can't put my foot up on the table, so it's like I was saying that if this were my foot, this is where it would be. But it's got like my family members' initials on it. And obviously, like I can look at that and be like, okay, that's not excessive, but like I can't come up with a solid line. I can just kind of distinguish excessive from not. But as far as it being for the glory of God, like a point for that, I would say. This is kind of back to doing it to just fit in. Like, there are things that you can and can't get tattoos for that would be honoring the glory of God. I was going to say this with the last one, and I'll use the Jennings for an example. So obviously we know BJ passed away, right? If BJ can't tell Micah to go pick up his room because he's not here. So if Micah were to get a tattoo that's like got BJ's initials or one of his favorite verses, that would still be honoring to BJ, which is his father, right? Honor your father is what God says to us. So I would say still directly honoring God. You're following his exact rules. You're just not doing what you would, how am I trying to say this? You're not specifically following exactly your parents' rules because it's not a rule that was set in place. So he's just doing that to honor the memory of his father. I would say that still fits in within the glory of God, and it's not excessive.
And there's getting tattoos that are like tattoos based around your faith, like people get fish, people get verses. Someone we're all close with, Mason, he has several tattoos. He has tattoos in Hebrew, or Chinese, as he said.
Chinese.
I didn't know what it was.
So like, if your tattoos are based around your faith and are like to express yourself but express your faith, then it's okay.
Okay. So would you say that these tattoos, are they more about, where your heart is set? Because if you're getting a tattoo, you may think you are doing it like, oh, I'm going to get this cross, and it's going to be something that is glorifying God. It's something that reminds me that God's with me. But maybe you're thinking, oh, but I'm going to get so many people being like, wow, what a great tattoo.
Thank you.
So is it all about the heart of it, or is it more about the message? Is there a distinction there?
There's a counter argument you could use to where, like, if you're having to show the strength of your faith through marking on your body, is it really that strong? But like, I guess that's open for interpretation there.
I would say all tattoos, period, are based on where your heart is set. So it's all, and I'm gonna say subconsciously, knowing that it might be wrong. Like it's all subconscious, right? Like you might say, I'm getting this cross for the glory of God, but in reality, you're thinking, oh, nice tattoo, right? So it's all based on what your heart's set on. Like if your heart's set on you want to get the attention of the people around you on earth, and you go to get a tattoo, that's what you're going to be looking for, regardless of what you say that it's for, right? So your heart, I would say, has to be set in the right place before getting a tattoo, because once your heart is focused on the right thing, then obviously it'll become clear whether or not it's right, or whether or not what you should get on your body, stuff like that. So.
Okay, interesting. All right, I guess we'll move on. All right, so. Last question, kind of a weird one. Revelation 19:16 says, "On his robe and on his thigh, he has a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords." So some people interpret that to be that Jesus has a tattoo himself on his thigh that says his titles, his names. So what are y'all's thoughts? Does Jesus have a tattoo? And if Jesus has a tattoo, does that change the way you look at Jesus? Do you think Jesus is more of a hipster now, or do you think does it change your view of Jesus if that is a tattoo? Or
You say it like that, he's got mad clout.
he's got
Clout.
Does Jesus have mad clout because he has a tattoo? So
man.
does that change your thought on Jesus? Do you believe that is a tattoo? Do you think it could be something different?
No, it didn't change my thought, but I've never
heard that talked about.
Yeah, I've heard the verse, but I've never heard it be like, oh, I've always just read it like, oh, his robe and his thigh, cool. But like, tattoo, ugh. I would say, yes, Jesus has a tattoo, just strictly because we know that tattoos were a thing back then, because we know that women in Israel got them for birthing, whatever. We know that piercings were a thing back then, because we saw that Abraham, whenever he sent his servant for Rebekah, sent a gold nose ring, so we know that that was a thing. Nose ring. So I would say yes, that's a tattoo, and no, it does not change my view of Jesus in any way.
Yeah, if you're looking at someone and like of the influence that Jesus had and still has, if you're judging their character by a tattoo, then that's kind of like, I mean, it doesn't say like, I mean, it does say that he had a tattoo, but like there's no other talked about, so I'm sure if it says it, then I'm sure he had one, but like if it's changing your opinion on it, that's kind of like not really fair, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that.
I'm still not 100%
Yeah.
sure where you're. So you're saying even if it was a tattoo that Jesus has, that it shouldn't change your opinion on him and change his character and all the things that he did? Is that what you're trying
That's
to
what
say?
I got from that.
That's what I think you're trying to say.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the tattoo doesn't take away from the miracles that Jesus did, and all that,
Yeah.
and him dying for our sins doesn't change just because he had a tattoo or some writing on his
Yeah.
thigh, right? That's what you're saying? Okay. I just wanted to be sure because
was
I had no idea
wrong.
what you were trying to say.
It was the original cover of Inked magazine.
Jesus
my
had
gosh.
mad clout.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. All right. So, anything else on tattoos and piercings? Any other
I think,
thoughts that you have towards the topic?
I think just
think we-
overview, it's okay within reason. Obviously, you shouldn't be super excessive with it, but as long as it's for the glory of God, and that doesn't have to be directly a Bible verse, a cross, or a fish. It can be like honoring a family member or something like that. As long as your heart's in the right place, I'd say it's okay. As long as it doesn't violate any of the things that God has set in place relative to glorifying Him or honoring our parents and stuff like that. I'd say that it's fine.
I think all the bases were covered.
Okay. Awesome. So you already gave the overview. I don't really have to do
Oh,
it.
is that
this
something you
way.
do?
I mean, I was going to, but I mean, I don't have to now that you've
You
said.
take over the
Yeah,
show.
you want to host
Hi,
for
I'm Ethan, and this is Table Talk,
This is Disney Channel.
and you're watching Disney Channel.
Take a seat.
Gosh. So just to kind of wrap up, 1 Corinthians 10:23 says, "You say I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for you. You say I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is beneficial." So, oh my goodness. So that verse does say, you're allowed to get a tattoo, and that these things are, and piercings are allowed, but are they beneficial to you? Are they beneficial to your walk with Christ? Are they things that, we talked about that, are they something that the message speaks to you? Is it something that the message glorifies God? Is it something that, is going to elevate your relationship with God? Things like that. Is it something that will benefit you in the long run? You shouldn't be looking to get a tattoo just because you can, and just because, why not? It's all about that being beneficial to you, and furthering your relationship with Christ and furthering your relationship with God. So, just keep that in mind when you guys are going about your decisions on getting tattoos. Is this something that's beneficial to me? That's beneficial to God? Is this something that is honoring my mother and my father? Is this something that isn't going to ruin my temple, the gift that God has given me? Just keep all these things in mind. So that's all I have for this week. Anything else that you guys want to throw in on the topic of tattoos or piercings?
I think I'm chilling.
Get
No.
tattoos from the influence.
Jeez.
So up next morning with a crappy dragon tattoo.
What a weird thing to throw out there, Jackson. Oh gosh. Anyways, well, thank you guys for coming and chit-chatting, hanging out.
Of course.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Table Talk. Please leave in the comments a topic that you'd like us to touch on, something that you'd like to hear about, something that you'd like answers on. Please send me a text, send Tim a text to say what you'd like to see, how we could make things better for you guys. Again, thank you for joining us for Table Talk, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you. Oh, yeah, we got to wave. Sorry. Yeah. Radical.